Hello, Voices of the Bench community. My name is Tanya Little, and I'm a denturist from beautiful Vancouver, Canada. I would like to invite you to a special webinar that I'm hosting with Ivoclar and LMT on Wednesday, May 7th, titled Thoughts from a Denturist, Creating Dentures with Ivoclar for 20 Years. In this program, I will review the incredible history of removables with Ivoclar and focus on the new and exciting Ivotion base print resin and, of course, the PM7. My goal is to provide you with several key takeaways that will allow you to work smarter and not harder. You can join me on May 7th by registering at lmtmag.com/webinars. That's lmtmag.com/webinars, and look for my course. I'm really looking forward to it.
Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Greetings and welcome to episode 369 of Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis.
And my name is 69. Barbara.
Uh-oh. Barbara, come on, let's keep it clean. Let's not start so dirty.
Yeah. It's Saturday morning, Easter weekend, so I am a happy girl. It's my favorite.
There you go.
How are you?
I am sitting in a very rainy Indiana on a Saturday. The last 2 days have been absolutely beautiful. I was working, no run. Saturday, ready to run, raining.
Oh, me.
Welcome to my life.
Yep. We know. I said the one thing I'm doing today is running, and then I'm doing Easter baskets and making breakfast, getting everything ready for tomorrow.
Love it.
So I'm a happy girl.
So we again have a longer-ish episode because putting together all the Chicago recordings kind of made episodes a little long. So we're going to jump right into it if nobody minds.
Let's do it.
Awesome. So this week we are back to the Cal Lab Association meeting that happens that same week of Lab Day Chicago. Now, before we get into who we're talking to, let's congratulate our very own Barb for being the new chair of this amazing organization.
Right?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Not only am I the incoming chair, which is a very, very big responsibility, no stress there.
None whatsoever.
But it's our 100-year anniversary.
Is it really?
100 years. So, that's huge. Ivoclar's celebrating, 20 years of EMAX. We're celebrating 100 years of Cal Lab. So, it's going to be a big deal. I'm putting together a committee to figure out how to celebrate it, what to do. Super, super excited.
That is exciting. I mean, you got to go all out for 100.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a century. I mean, there's no half in this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we want to be all over social media, and we want to have special things we're doing throughout the 2 days. And, I want to do a champagne toast. I shouldn't tell all.
Nice.
But, yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. So how long have you been on the board of the Cal Lab? It's been a while, haven't you? I think even when I met you, you were already on the board.
I would say close to 10 years.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's a board you don't get off of. And I'm being sincere.
Yeah.
You don't revolve and then go away. When you're on that board, it's a lifetime commitment, which I was happy about. So yeah. So even after I'm a chair, then I'll just be still on the board unless I elect to be on my way and retire.
Yeah, that won't happen.
We don't want to talk about that yet. It's way too early for that.
Way too early. But you are the first female chair of this organization, right?
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, and let's not talk about how it took them 100 years. But congratulations. I'm super excited. I mean, We've been talking about Cal Lab for 7 years.
Right.
I'm a huge fan of the show. Obviously, you are. And it's going to be so exciting to have you in charge of all of it.
Right on.
So everybody, just whatever you do when you're in Chicago next year, make Cal Lab part of your visit.
Well, if you're looking for the best networking and the best business side of our industry, check out callab.org.
cal-lab.org. You better start learning to say that dash bar.
Boy, you know that always screws me up, Elvis. Even on Saturday morning.
But what's kind of cool is some of the people you might actually meet at CalLab are these four wonderful people that I had the pleasure of talking to at this year's meeting. And I love that the fact that I'm starting off with the coworker of mine who's with me at Derby Dental Laboratories.
Sweet.
Liam Johns grew up with a father that was a technician. Now, Liam's still in his early 20s, and he's already the manager of a pretty good sizable removable department.
So I've heard.
Yeah, and he talks about what excites him in this new digital age of removables.
Then my good friend Elvis got to meet two gentlemen from Wiand Dental Lab out of Arizona, Tom Wiand and Scott Lowrey. Tom talks about his dentist father, we know how fun that is, known as the denture guy, and how that inspired him to go to dental technology school. Scott talks about trying to sell burs to Tom, and let's just say the first meeting wasn't the greatest. But now they have grown Wiand Dental Lab into a very well-known lab that is doing all digital workflows and growing pretty rapidly.
And then I wrap up the episode with a very unique story from the owner of First Choice Dental Lab, Matt Cushing.
I know, Matt.
Yeah, Matt played professional football in the NFL, like almost to the Super Bowl football.
Damn.
But it was a buddy of his that offered him a sales position during the off season, and Matt discovered the dental lab world.
I've never looked.
Yeah, it never left. It wasn't long before he hired his own tech and opened his own lab. And now he's out there acquiring other labs. He became full service, and he's got an aspiration to tell his story on stage to others. So join us as we chat with Liam Johns, Tom Wiand, Scott Lowrey, and Matt Cushing.
Are you a dental lab in need of more talent to improve your bottom line and keep production on schedule? Are you a dental tech with great skills but feel you're being limited at your current lab? Well, the answer is here. Hi, I'm Mark from Win Go, and this is precisely why Win Go was created. The dental lab and dental tech community needed a place where labs and technicians can meet, talk about their needs, and connect in ways that foster a win-win outcome. As a tech, if you're ready to make a change, thinking about moving in the next year, or just curious what's out there, sign up today. It's totally free. As a lab, you might be feeling the frustration of paying the big employment sites so much and getting so few tech candidates. We understand. They don't much care about our industry. WinWinGo.com is simply the best place for lab techs and lab owners to actively engage in creating their ideal future. WinWinGo.com. How dental techs find paradise.
Voices from the Bench. The interview. I'm so happy to be here at Cal Lab. And with me, I got fellow Derby employee and first-time Cal Lab, I believe?
Yes. No, first-time Cal Lab, LMT in general. Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
We got a virgin. Liam John, right? Is it John or Johns?
Liam Johns.
Liam Johns. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well.
You enjoying the show?
I'm having a great time. Yeah, it's a lot of information to soak up, meeting a lot of new faces, a lot of new people. But it's so awesome just to get all the different perspectives and also hear that you're not the only one with your problems. You know?
That's one thing you'll definitely learn as you come out of your solo lab.
Right.
I mean, years and years ago, the first time I came here, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not alone.
Right.
Wow, you guys do that too?
Yeah. Oh, wow, you have high remakes too? Okay. Yeah, it's just like my world was this small. And now it's just boom. It's
huge.
Ever expanding.
Yeah. So tell the story of how you ended up at Derby, because I know it's like a family, right?
Yeah, it is. So so my father's been in this industry since about 1986, 87.
Wow.
He started out as a delivery driver and then.
At Derby?
No, not at Derby. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I should rephrase. Just in the business in general.
Okay, sure.
So he started out as a delivery driver for a lab in Lexington, and then he got his way into the lab. And then he started in Crown and Bridge, and then he moved over into removable. Got his CDT and frameworks, And he worked at Affordable Dentures for a long time.
Oh, okay, yeah. You learn a lot there.
Yeah, they used to fly him around, and he would do training on anything from setting and waxing to processing.
Nice.
That was when they were bringing on the fluid resin process, right when
Okay,
it all started. So, anyways, he had a home lab for a while, and I used to go down in the basement and see him. I don't know. I thought he was just like a mad scientist or something. Because he had, the lab coat on, and he's mixing bowls of plaster, and I just was like, all right, I'm getting out of here.
Do you have any idea what he was doing?
No.
Did he try to show you teeth? Or
He showed me, the finished product. When he would pick me up from school, he would drive by doctors' offices, and I'd go run and pick up the cases and bring them back to him.
Hilarious, yeah.
And I didn't know what was going on, but when I would have friends over, we'd mess around in the basement, and you open up these drawers.
He used you as sales. You know that, right? The adorable kid to pick up the case.
I know that now, yes.
Yeah.
But, we go downstairs into his lab, and you open up these drawers, and they're cards of teeth. But my friends would be like, oh, is your dad a serial killer? What's going on here,
They're not real.
So, but fast forward to, 2017, I graduated from high school.
Yeah.
And for a while there, I just didn't have a job. I was just taking some time off.
Sure.
And then I was like, I think I need a job. I'm broke now. So
run out of money quick.
He put in the good word about me to Reed and Basil.
So when did he go to Derby? When did your dad go there?
2015.
And he just went there just for a job? And
Yeah. So he was, like I said, he had his home lab for a while, but then that business dried up.
It's hard to do.
You just can't compete.
It's hard.
I think that was around the time when the digital world was starting to really accelerate. So he just couldn't compete. And that's when he was he had worked at Derby before, I think back in the 90s at one of their old buildings.
Yeah. It's a cycle for a lot of people.
Yeah, and ironically, it's funny that he didn't sour the relationship because he only worked there so he could get a paycheck until he got his insurance license, I guess, to sell insurance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so he got himself fired, but the owner, Dave Nunley, was such a nice guy. They left on good terms.
Sure. But he's a removable guy.
He is a removable
We'll
guy.
hire you back. You could pretty much burn a bridge. And as long as you could do a good removable, we'll hire you back.
Absolutely. Yeah, and my dad, he's highly skilled.
So he put in a good word for you.
He did.
At this point, have you done anything?
No. I worked at a barbecue pit. I'm like a high school kid, and had just graduated. But I was really good with my hands. I always have been, and I had worked with his lathes and his handpiece making little stuff.
Whatever.
So I was familiar with the tools.
Yeah.
So they brought me in for some tests. I did some hands-on tests, which you've seen in the lab. I think
I've not seen the hands-on tests that we do.
You're sure it's where we have that little? It's like a clay molar. Remember with the clay?
Yeah.
So that we'll have somebody come in, and we'll give them a molar. It's about, a couple inches wide, et cetera. And I'll say, make this to the best of your ability. And it can kind of show you if they're going to do well, say, as a finisher or a waxer.
Do we do that for every employee at Derby?
Yes.
Can I do it next time I come in?
Yeah, for sure.
I've never done it.
Yeah, for sure. And the funny thing is,
I want to make sure I won't get fired, though, if I can't do it.
We'll just keep it between us, just for the time being.
So how'd you do?
I did great.
Yeah?
I did great. They were really impressed. So they brought me on as a finisher. But basically, the person who was processing got mad that I was brought on as a finisher and quit. So then I started in processing.
Wait a minute. Why did they get mad you got brought in as a finisher?
I guess they thought because they had been working there for a month that they
should be finisher?
That they should be finisher.
Is finisher better than processor?
They're both really labor intensive.
They're
so I wouldn't say so. I mean, I guess they maybe wanted. They thought if they were sitting all day, it was a better job versus you're standing a lot in processing.
Yeah, you're mixing and pounding a lot of things.
Yeah.
Was Derby doing press pack then, or what?
So it was very funny. It was literally a year or two right before I joined where they were still press packing everything.
Sure.
But at that time, they had brought Basil on around 2015 or so, and he was like, hey, let's do away with all this. Let's do the Ivoclar Ivo-based injection system.
Yeah.
They got 3 of them, and that's what they were doing at that time.
And we still do that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it's a great system. I mean, you have a very high success rate.
It's controlled.
It's controlled. The only time things will go wrong is, number one, obviously, if you don't do good maintenance. Number 2, if you use a different type of acrylic in their capsule.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can. So
we tried that apparently.
Yes, and you can do it. you can do it. It's just if you don't, like I said, if it's too viscous or it's too thick, it's not going to inject, or it's going to just spew out of the flask up into the sensors and everything.
So you're finishing.
Well, so I processed for about 9 months, and I did very well at it. And then finally, I was like, look, I really want to finish. I think I'd be really good at it. Can we please find somebody for me to train for this job? And they said yes. And so
Nice.
I trained somebody to do that, and then I finished for 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're not just finishing anymore. What happened?
So I did really well at finishing.
At this point, Basil, for everyone knows the VP of Derby, he's still the manager of that department, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going a little bit too
no,
fast.
and
So
hopefully we're not talking about people that no one else knows because we both work at Derby. But anywho.
So ironically, Basil was the removable manager up until I'd say about mid-2019. Then he started taking on a bit greater of a responsibility.
Sure, yeah.
He was honestly overseeing operations throughout the entire lab, helping crown and bridge, helping implants. He's actually, CDT and implants, so he has a lot of expertise there. Around COVID is when he really started to move into that operations role officially.
Yeah.
So he started helping with the what was then called, was it True Smile? Our liner division. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he started helping
clear
that
liners,
when it was still in its startup phase.
Yep.
So then that's when he moved out of that role. And then for a while there, a couple of ladies in the department stepped up, and they were dual managing.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was like, look, I think I could be really good at it.
Oh, you asked for it.
I did ask for it.
Okay.
And they didn't give it to me right off the bat. I was too young, too inexperienced. So I just worked towards it and just tried to do everything I could to learn about the entire process as a whole, which I'm still learning better ways to set up, but I know how to do every step.
So can you set up?
I can set up.
Okay, so
yes.
when did you learn all that?
That was
the hardest part.
That was a
isn't
couple years ago.
Nice.
Yeah. It's still I'm still not in a good groove because with finishing, because it was a daily job, I can do it right now like I was doing it yesterday for years, but not so much with setup and wax up.
So what's your role now? What do you do?
I'm the the department manager.
So does that mean more putting out fires? Is that more talking on the phone? Is that more
a lot of phone, though, as I'm sure you're aware of. I'm not the best at answering, but I'm working on that because that's not going to fly. But no, so it's basically just overseeing labor, making sure people are doing what they're supposed to be doing, definitely putting out fires, also doing preventative measures so we don't have those fires.
Yeah.
And one of the most exciting things and why I think Basil brought me is, looking into the future on what we want to be doing and things that we could do better.
Yeah.
Bringing on new product lines, moving things more digitally, which is actually been one of my side projects, which is doing digital partials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that going?
It's going great. We're really just waiting right now after, LMT and everything. So there's just not so many, I guess just, how would you put it? People gone out of the lab.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But I've already ran a lot of tests on. Really, the main thing was, okay, can we scan it accurately enough for spaces for the wires?
Yeah, and you still got to put those in manually, right?
You do, but if you do it right, if you bend the wire right and you scan it right, it really just clicks into place, and you put just a layer of resin over it.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I think. Did you see one of the examples that I had?
I don't think I had.
I did a test case where it was just 18, 19, and 20.
Yeah.
And, it had a wire going around 21 and then wrapping the distal of 31 on the other side. It fit like a glove.
Really?
And it's really aesthetic, too.
Did it save time?
It did save time.
Yeah.
I guess the only challenge would be, since our turnaround time for a flipper is 3 days, you would basically have to, let's say if it's an analog impression, bend the wire and scan all in day one, because day 2 needs to be dedicated to printing.
Yeah.
It's designed overnight. Day 2's printing. Day 3 would be finished, hypothetically.
And is it just as long to print a partial than it is a denture?
Yes. Printing really is more so just about the height versus the width of it, and it has relatively the same height or depth of a denture.
Palatable coverage sort of thing.
Right.
Do you like the digital denture?
I do, if it's the right material.
Yeah.
I'm in the same camp as you. There's a lot of resins being pushed that are just cheap.
Yeah.
They're no stronger than Eclipse baseplate material.
Yeah.
But I will die on the hill of Lucitone. Printed Dentsply Lucitone is the best I've ever seen.
Were you excited about that? Digital denture coming out, or?
I was, because I saw how hard or how labor intensive it was to get the conventional dentures out, and also the repeatability of it. Because patients, we would make them, let's just say, they're final. They've had an immediate for a while, and now it's their final, and they love it. A year goes by. This patient can be very picky. They want that denture exactly.
Duplication is the key, man.
Exactly. So that's one of the biggest value adders of a digital denture is repeatability.
Yeah. And one of the things at Cal Lab that was brought up at the open forum was the flexible carbon material. Yeah. I'm super stoked for this.
Oh, my gosh. Listen, if there's anybody, I'm thinking about this all the time. I'm so excited because it is so hard to find somebody to finish Duraflex. I have one person. I can do it. Don't get me wrong. And I'm really good at it. I had 2 people for a while, but one individual who was dedicated to them, she unfortunately is no longer with the company. So I now only have one person who can do them. If she's not there.
Yeah, it's so hard to make those things look good, yes. I think. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm terrible at it. But anytime I make an adjustment, it just looks like a Brillo pad. I mean, it just looks like it's
And the other side of it is getting someone to wax it to a consistent thickness and processing. The biggest reason I think why our Duraflex cases aren't going out when they're supposed to is because we'll get them at finishing. There's a chunk of stone in the acrylic, and doing a repair on it, you can almost always tell. And I'm like, if it doesn't look brand new and it doesn't have the properties of not having a repair, we can't send this out.
I think it's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And metal framework. So Derby's big on to printing the metal frameworks. Mm-hmm. It took us a while to dial that in. I'm not going to lie.
You're absolutely right. I'm sure it was very painful for you because you're having to be in the office, and when you get a case where those rest preps, there's like a 2 millimeter gap.
If you can get an Explorer under there, that's a no-no. And that's
I know
the first
exactly
thing
the case
do.
you're talking about too. That was painful. Yeah. The funny thing about that was when we got those machines, there was very little onboard training from that company.
Really?
Yeah. Which is on us too. We probably should have done a little bit more digging. But the powder we found out we weren't given the proper printing parameters for that powder.
Sure.
And it was also crappy powder in general.
Yeah, I know we switched, right?
We did. We switched to the Bego powder. And I'm pretty sure Bego.
Yep.
Bego. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's chrome cobalt.
Yep.
And it's very nice. It's very nice.
Oh, they've been beautiful and dropping in mostly.
Mostly?
Yeah.
What would you say if you could give a rough estimate on what you're seeing? What's the percentage-wise?
Oh, I'd say it's a good 85.
Okay, great.
Which is more than analog.
Yeah. Really?
I think so, yeah.
See, I haven't had – the only experience I've had with the analog frameworks was we always outsourced them to some in-state laboratories because we didn't have the proper materials.
Nobody has the people anymore.
The burnouts or the people.
Yeah. The problem with analog, I always found, is they were over-polished.
You think so?
Yeah, so a person would sit there and polish like a class just to make it shiny, not realizing they're taking off microns of metal, and now you don't have the retention that you had before. But it's shiny. The nice thing about the digital is that electro-polisher is not really an abrasive polish.
Right.
You just barely have to touch it. And to me, that's the huge difference.
You're absolutely right. And I guess that's a good point about that electro-polisher. So it basically is running through a bucket of very fine artificial, almost like pumice, but it's damp. So it actually shines the intaglio surface of the frame as well, which I don't think they could do that before with the cast ones.
Yeah, I guess not to the point that the electric polisher does.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you excited for the future? Are you going to stay in this industry forever?
Yes.
Should we mention how young you are as a denture removable technician?
Yeah, so I'm 25.
That's insane.
25.
We were at lunch today at Cal Lab, and somebody says, "You're that young? What are you, drunk?" And it was the funniest thing I ever heard because it's so rare to have, I don't want to say this wrong, but a young removable technician that is excited to do this.
I do take pride in being unique in that aspect.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. I mean, even in the almost 2 years I've been just in management and been in charge of onboarding and hiring people, you're absolutely right. You can't find anybody, at least in my age group, which I actually did recently, so I can't say 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there's hardly anybody just becoming a dental technician now. It's a dying art.
Big problem. Yeah. But it's great that you're doing it.
I actually do have some good news, though. So I just hired somebody she's a finisher right now.
Nice.
She just graduated from college, and she was basically a theater and, how do you say, like theater production major?
Yeah, so unemployable major?
Basically unemployable, captive audience. I'm like, come here. So I brought her on, and she is so good, and she has a smile on her face all day. She even asked me if she could take photos of what she's making, and she's just finishing dentures right now.
Yeah.
She genuinely loves it, and what really made me love it was just a job to me at first. I'll admit that. I was just processing. What made me fall in love with it was when I saw how it affected people, and genuinely
Game
changes
changer.
people's lives. Yeah, it's beautiful.
How long has this new hire been there?
She's only been there about a couple months.
Oh, she still has a smile after a couple of months?
She does.
I'm
and
surprised.
Here's how I knew here's how I knew she was different. Is the day that she was supposed to come in was actually when we got that big snowstorm. So it was like January 5th or something.
Yeah.
So we shut down that day. But it was the 6th. A bunch of people still called in, and I said, hey, I understand if you can't come in.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
She came right on in, worked the whole day, and hasn't called in once.
Man,
it's been amazing.
What a good first impression.
And as you can understand, a lot of the technicians with bad attitudes don't like her because they know she's a threat.
What are you smiling at?
Right.
Suspicious. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Liam, man, thank you so much.
Thanks for
having me. I love having
me.
you on the podcast.
Yeah.
I love working with you, dude. You're a good dude.
Yeah, I appreciate
it. You care, and that's what really matters a lot in our industry.
Well, I got to get a lot of props to you. If anyone cares, it's you. You're
picky,
really
sorry.
You're picky. No, don't be. Look, I will admit it was a bit much at first working with you, but that's because I'd never worked with somebody who was as consistent as you.
Yeah.
But I think I have a better understanding of you now, and man, you're really awesome. And
it's all about the patient and the product, man.
It is. It is. So just know that I'm going to work on my communication skills. That's
answer the damn phone.
Yeah, answer the damn phone. Right. Especially my voicemail too.
Yeah. Thanks, Liam.
So all right, thank you, Elvis.
Yeah. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
It's a no prep veneer.
No prep veneer, the conversation. So this is exciting. We're at Cal Lab. We just finished the first night. I'm going to say laboratory royalty here. Who's hot. I remember that.
Oh, yeah?
What was that, like 4 years ago or something?
Yeah, I was hot 4 years ago.
Yeah, not so much anymore. Tom Weiland from Wiand Dental Lab? Wiand.
Close, yeah. You added an extra
Is there
letter
no
in there.
L in it?
No L.
Can you put an L in it for me?
You know what? You could. It makes it more
like,
interesting. It then becomes Wyland.
Yeah, but so
We're on
Wiand,
an island of
Dental
Wyland,
Lab.
yeah.
And then we have who? Scott?
Scott Lowrey. Yeah.
Lowrey. What do you do at Wiand?
So I'm our technical support manager.
Oh.
Yeah. So
you do all the hard work.
I do a lot of the field
does.
troubleshooting.
Yeah, he gets face to face with the customer.
Yeah. So Tom, tell me the story of Wiand. Wiand.
Okay, Beth, we're going to change the name on Monday to
Wyland.
Wyland. We decided we like Wyland better.
I add letters and words, so sorry. You could change a name. It's not hard.
A lot of brand.
Give me the story.
Change.
The story is started the lab in 1992.
You started it?
I did. My dad was a dentist.
Okay.
He was the denture guy outside of Pittsburg. Small town, Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
He was a dentist.
He was a dentist.
Mostly dentures.
He was the denture guy. Nobody liked doing dentures.
That was like his legit name, like his title, like
the nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even back then, doctors didn't like doing dentures, so they would send them to him.
Oh. And how did he get good at them?
Because everybody sent him to
You do it enough.
You know what? You got bills to pay.
Yeah.
And so you're like, denture patient walks through the door. I better figure this out.
Might as well. Money's money.
But, yeah, he practiced 47 years, so he was really good at it. And so I got a lot of practice. Went to lab school in Philadelphia, and then
lab school that's obviously not there anymore.
Isn't that a shame?
Yeah.
South and Broad.
Did he push you to go into lab school? Or?
No. I like everybody. There's a bug flying around here.
Way to go, Cal Lab. What kind of rinky-dink show you're running?
I didn't know what I wanted to do, in high school, and I didn't want to be an accountant. And I liked working in his lab. He does all his own denture work.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Wow. So he's basically a denturist.
He
kind of.
Yeah, but he did
fully licensed.
Yeah, he did about 10 dentures a week.
Wow.
This is 1989, 90.
Did you help him?
Yeah. So once I went to lab school, he would mail the work to me, and then I would do all the setups during the week, and I would wax them, send them back. He would try them in and process them himself.
So while you were in lab school, was it pretty easy for you because you were so used to doing half the stuff?
No, I mean, when I worked with him, I only did basic wax ups and processing and stuff like that. So, but I got really good really fast because we did a lot of work.
Sure.
And it was great. It was a great opportunity. And I got a box once a week, and I had you'd get a card like this under your door, and I'd have to go down to the security desk and get my box.
Get your box, yeah.
So finally, after about a year of that, the guy looked at me and
just say, "Come every day."
Said, "I know what you're doing up there in that apartment."
You thought you were drug dealing or something?
And I go, yeah. So I tell him, "You want me to tell you what I'm doing?" He goes, "You don't need to tell me. You're building a bomb."
Oh, you thought you were building a bomb?
Yeah. So anyway, then the funny part was I graduated, I think, about 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And I moved, and I remember him just thinking, you know that boy up on the 13th floor. As soon as I called him out on that bomb, he was out of here.
So you graduated school?
I graduated school, went to Arizona, hated the winter.
Yeah.
Just like right now, this it's painful.
I bet.
In Chicago. So I went out to Arizona and worked for a laboratory for about 2 years, and then started I knew a guy that was retiring and closed his lab, so he had about.
So you bought a lab that was like already set up, or?
No, I was dating the delivery driver, so I kind of acquired the account.
Wait a minute. He retired. You're dating the delivery driver. She's like.
He went to Mexico.
And she just kept picking up the work, but
I
it was
said,
you.
I'll take the delivery driver and those 8 accounts.
That's hilarious.
So anyway, just wanted to do higher end work at the time. I was
started at your home or something?
Yeah, I was working in a production lab, and so I rented space from a guy who was a Crown and Bridge lab, and then we collaborated together and shared some accounts and just grew it organically from there, and had a good mentor when I was first starting out, a prosthodontist who was extremely particular.
That's what it takes, man.
It's what it takes.
Prosthodontist to kind of put you in your place,
every
but
day,
also teach you.
Right.
Yeah.
Humility is, you're always going to be humble when you have a guy like that. So anyway, taught me a lot, got a lot of experience over the years, and then I just grew the lab from there.
And you're now at how many employees?
When are we, 35?
About 35.
Yeah, give or take.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're full service now. I'm the denture guy. But
you adopted your father's name.
Yeah, I'm the denture guy now. But
when did Scott come into the picture?
Scott's been 10 years.
Yeah,
10 years.
10 and a half years. Yeah,
wow.
Believe it or not, July will be 11 years. So I'll tell you actually a funny story, Elvis, about Tom and the evolution and of the business and coming in. So again, I've been with the lab for 10 and a half years, and prior I was a burr salesman.
A what?
A burr
burr.
salesman, yeah.
Like Comet or?
That's exactly.
Oh, was it
I
Comet?
was
Okay,
exactly Comet. And so fast forward, it's the very first time I'd ever met Tom. I'm in this lab, and Tom was subleasing some space in this lab. And the
Tried
guy
to sell him some burrs?
Yeah, the guy tells me, he says, "Oh, by the way, there's a denture lab around the corner." And I said, "Oh, well, perfect. Sales opportunity, right? You're never going to turn that down." So I make the corner. I go in, and at the time, I think, Tom, what'd you have, 4 employees, 5 employees? Yeah. And clearly it was not a good day in dentures and removables. And
having a bad day?
I'm a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like 23-year-old.
Was the denture guy a little not friendly?
Like he was the epitome of a denture guy that day. Like hated life, hated the world, right? So I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I grab my catalog like, oh, here we go. We're going to go sell some acrylic burrs. And I make the corner, and I go around, and Tom's like kind of hunched over, and he's working at his bench, and, he's walk over, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Scott," and I'm like full energy.
Don't be
with
that guy.
Comet, blah, blah, blah. And Tom like slowly stops, and he slowly turns and looks up at me like, "Who the hell are you?" And fast forward, I remember leaving the catalog and thinking, wow, who the hell would want to work for that guy?
Oh.
And here we are, 10 and a half years
10
later.
and a half years later.
Still there.
And
so
here I am.
Before you sold burrs, were you in anything else?
No. So
you
crazy.
Just went into it selling burrs.
I did, yeah. Crazy story. With Comet, I was hired. What was I? I was, December 06, so I would have been like 22 years old with Comet. Worked in
your first adult job.
It was like right out of college. Yeah. And they were like, "Hey, you ever been to Arizona?" I was like, "No." I honestly didn't even realize
they sent you to Arizona.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it.
For a 22-year-old.
Yeah,
I'll take
110 degrees and pounding the pavement. But
that's true.
And that's how I met Tom. Yeah, he became an accountant. Fast forward,
So you did buy burrs from him.
He did.
We did,
eventually.
Yeah. Well, and the story too there was my wife Beth. Was she
the delivery driver?
No, by the way.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. She's staring right at me.
There is a death stare coming over your
So
shoulder.
she's interviewing people, and they're coming and going, and she can't make a decision on somebody. And I, again, kind of the same thing. Don't really say a lot. Just handed her a card to go, here, you should just hire this guy. So gave him his card, and she called him to come interview. And, he's –
Wait, Scott came in to interview?
Yeah.
Or
so I had her reach out to him.
So why did you decide to interview for being at this lab if he was such a –
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Well, we had mended fences,
My
right?
wife wins
7 years
people
later.
over.
Right?
My wife is the one that wins people over.
Yeah. Yeah, Beth, actually, I'll never forget. I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico on a work trip, and my phone rang, and she had reached out. And at the time, I had a brand new baby at home, and I was kind of like, I don't know, I hadn't even really thought about that. And fast forward, I met with Tom, met with Beth, and they were like, look, it's an opportunity for, coming to work with a great lab. I actually started in sales for the lab.
Yeah.
Okay, so the idea was comment guy.
Yeah.
Bring them in to do sales for the lab.
Right, 100%.
Okay, so how did that go? It's a little different.
A little different, yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought I had some knowledge and background, and it was a whole new world, right?
It's one thing selling like something that can't really go wrong.
Yeah, right. Like I say that all the time. It's a widget.
Selling something
right?
that can go wrong.
Here's a widget. Right?
You're going to love this burr.
Yeah.
We make 1,000 at a time. They're all the same, right?
Yeah.
Here's a denture, and I cannot guarantee if this is going to fit, or not, right?
A lot of factors.
Like there's so many factors, and I've learned that. I've actually been really fortunate to, be under Tom's wing, and again, just amazing people, amazing company, and it's been an awesome evolution even in my career. I started out as sales, and here I am now.
Was he your first salesperson?
He was, really. I mean, Beth was when she came. My wife, she came from radio, and so she was sales. But then as the lab was growing, we needed to really have a dedicated salesperson. But his role now has grown into chairside support. I mean, with all on fours that we do.
You do conversions and stuff?
So I don't do conversions. I actually oversee more of the restorative side. And then I do a lot of education programs, both lunch and learns, dinner programs, as well as just a lot of the lab outreach and any the VIP stuff or, hand holding, stuff like that we need. And then, as you can tell, Tom and I are kind of we're like the movie Twins, right? I'm Danny DeVito. He's Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Well, at least you won in that one.
And, here I am, the short guy.
I will bump you up.
Yeah,
Tom,
there you go.
Tom, crazy tall guy. But no, we're polar opposites in personality as well. And I think that's what does so well.
Hey, wait a minute.
He's quiet, reserved. I'm in your face, squirrel on acid all the time.
Yeah.
So high energy.
So when you built the lab, when did you get into full arch? Were you pretty early into the game?
I was doing hybrids the whole time.
Yeah.
92, where we did fixed hybrids. They were 5 millimeters off the tissue. 5 vertical implants.
Yeah.
We did a lot of back in the day spark erosion type dentures, and then Swiss lock over dentures, those kind of things.
Lock, yeah.
So I would say 2008. I think 2008. Clear Choice came to Phoenix. And everybody freaked out, all the surgeons and periodontists. So they started having lunch and learns with their clients. Hey, you can do this too.
Yeah, the team approach from Nobel.
So they needed a lab to facilitate that. So we helped our clients facilitate chairside conversions, which I did not want to do that at the time. Technicians back then didn't want to be out of the lab. Never.
No, a lot of them still don't. But not back then, even less. Yeah.
So we started doing conversions in 2008, and then it grew exponentially because there was not a lot being done well. We did them well. That was good.
Yeah, sure.
So that's kind of the evolution of into full arches 08, and then it just really take off. So same thing. I was doing a lot of night programs at the time with Nobel. They were really spearheading that whole thing.
I mean, Phoenix is like a mecca of dentists, isn't it?
A lot of dentists in that small radius.
It seems like they're always talking about Phoenix, and isn't that where Spear is?
Yep. Spear is there.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot going on. Is there a lot of labs?
There's, I don't know, I would say per capita.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of in-office all-on-4 centers.
Really? Interesting, yeah.
A lot of implant centers in the Phoenix market. A couple of bigger labs, and then I would say there's very few of us that are kind of the mid-tier size that really focus on quality.
So how do you push yourself above all that?
Again, focusing on quality and expertise, right? Saying, hey, we're large enough to handle your volume and your business, but we're still going to give you that personal touch. And
that's huge,
expertise as well.
Yeah, we
huge.
really don't want to work with everybody too. You can get really big if you work with everybody, but then you deal with a lot of aftermath.
Yeah, most of it's crap.
Elvis had a lot more hair when I started 2.5 years ago.
Tell me about it. You got the most hair out of all three of us. What are you complaining about? Kill for that much hair.
Yeah.
So are you into digital now?
We are. So we're doing analog is definitely transitioning out.
Yeah, 100%.
So we're in digital workflows. We just started incorporating some working with the True Abutment IO Connect system.
Oh, you like that?
Been phenomenal.
Yeah.
We see transition out of photogrammetry is starting to become
Did you do
yesterday's
it? Did you
news.
buy one?
No, I didn't want to.
I didn't either.
Didn't want a bone anchor.
I don't see the point.
I have a
mean,
boat, but I have an
honestly,
anchor already.
I mean, we do it without it, and it drops in every time. So
yeah,
I'm trying to struggle why I would.
Well, and I'll tell you, everything today and even yesterday is, and it was said on the stage today that everything's going to iOS, and within less than a year, we're all going to be in iOS, some form of whatever, because there's so many out there now, and they seem to work well. So the ones that we've done have fit perfectly. We haven't had one not yet, so we're scaling that a little more.
So what do you like? Scanning day of surgery?
No, so we were doing only temp to finals now.
Yeah, we started in the restorative phase.
Yeah.
Oh, so after integration.
Yeah, because if there's a problem, I want to be able to fix it. We're doing smart dentures for the
I love
chairside.
smart denture conversion. Yeah.
So we still do all those. We're just starting with the day of surgery one. So
it's going to kick off
with the IO Connect.
Yeah. So I've done a few with OmniSplint.
Yeah.
On
Did you like that?
It works.
Yeah.
It's got its setback because it's got this like network and it covers the whole palate. So if you're using like a fiduciary screw or something, it's hard to get that.
Yep.
Okay. But I mean, every single one we've done, probably done 30 of them.
Yeah.
Boom, drop right in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Without photogrammetry. I don't know why people are buying these things, but I just probably lost all sponsorship from photogrammetry.
Well, and we have one doctor that does kind of the Instarisa thing with scan bodies, and you put the impression material and you just connect it.
Yep.
No problems.
It works too.
And it worked from a distance, which is even better. So it's not like, running this back and forth, and
so are you going out there with the true abutment stuff and helping them do that? Who's doing that?
You're looking at him.
Yeah. Do you like it?
I call it version 3.0 at this point. So Tom and I've gone through a few different versions. We were just joking about this last night at dinner. I said, it's kind of funny because I'm the guy that runs out there and, throws stuff on the wall to see if it sticks, right?
Yeah, I tell him, all right, Scott, here's what you're going to do next. This is next.
Yeah.
Do this, and this.
Yeah.
And then
I'm crazy enough to go do it.
And he's crazy enough to go do it.
Yeah. No, it's been great. We've had great support from our doctors as well. And I think the doctors realize the digital advantage.
It's huge on their end.
It is.
Huge.
And
I said, do you like cutting jigs? They're like, no. And I'm like, it's gone. Yeah. And they love it.
Yeah.
And they can scan. They don't like impression material. They don't like any jigs. They don't like any of that, but they can scan.
Yeah.
So they get the concept of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's been good. It's a fun journey.
Yeah. It has. It's been, as Tom said, it's been a fun journey. It's been a lot of research, a lot of time investment. But, again, the right protocols and proper channels and doing things the right way. And again, I think it helps to coming from a lab that does pride itself. Say, hey, we want to be the experts. We want to work through this, and we want to see success on both sides. And I think a lot of doctors have respect for that. Plus, they love the digital as well as patients love digital.
Oh yeah,
they think that's so cool, right?
They think it's so neat.
Yeah, 100%.
I love how fascinated they are with it. And
yeah,
I'll even be like, you want to see your teeth? And most of them are like, no.
I always freak people out after if I get like a full upper and lower, and I have the bite, and I'll spin it around. I'll say, this is what your tongue sees all day long.
That's a good one.
Oh, my God, that's
I'm going to use
crazy.
that. That's a good one.
Nobody ever gets to see it from that point of view, right?
That's true.
So that patients always love that.
What's new for, what's coming up for Wiand? Did I say it right?
Yeah.
You got it.
Nailed it.
Yeah, okay.
It's hard.
Yeah,
I did.
I put it in there mentally.
Right.
So
now you know how they felt on Ellis Island when everybody was coming over, adding and subtracting letters all the time.
That's where I come in. What are you working on next?
Yeah.
What's the big thing?
So, I mean, really, this digital push right now in the All-in-X space is a big thing for us. The same-day surgery and next day, as well as even like, some of the satellite or remote opportunities with doctors. And it's been a really cool thing, really focusing on, again, the quality and digital workflows. We've had phone calls from doctors call us out of state and say, hey, we hear you're these digital guys from my colleagues.
Don't you love that?
It's been awesome. Yeah, it's really cool to get that opportunity and say, and problem solve with people. And it's been a lot of fun.
Do you do a lot of work outside your area?
We do a fair amount.
Yeah.
A lot of specialists.
Really?
They seek us out. We do a lot of milled dentures, too, as
Oh,
well.
so
We're
you do
not
the
really printed.
iVotion?
Yeah, a lot of them. So they seek out for that. They want the milled product over the printed still. So we've built a lot of accounts from that process. So, and a lot of our, again, removable implant-supported cases, like the bar over dentures and stuff like that. It seems like everyone's full arch but they don't really offer a lot of that stuff anymore. So it's harder and harder for people to find that solution.
Oh, for just like a locator case.
Locator overdenture with on a bar or
is
Swiss lock
fixed.
pins. Yeah, everything is.
And not everything should be fixed.
No, it's not for everybody. I had one patient, a client of mine, says, "You got to get this hybrid out of my mouth. I feel like every day I'm going to the bathroom with my pants on."
What a weird
He
visual.
just can't clean it. I heard a guy say today, call it a dirty diaper.
Yeah.
And that's, so they want to be able to clean it, some patients. But for
some
a lot of people,
need to be able to clean it.
Yeah. And some fixed is perfect. So.
Yeah. So what, the milled denture, why'd you get into that? I mean,
so initially for all-on-4 conversions, we had such a high fracture rate. 30% roughly.
And that's off printed dentures?
Just regular processed dentures, yeah. So, the old way before smart denture, you'd hog out a gigantic hole and you'd do backfill, and you have a weak spot there, so it would break or a tooth would come out. So when I saw Evotion, I wanted to switch to that, so we immediately bought the mill. It came out, I think, in June. I bought it in September.
Wow.
And I said, we're going to make all of our provisionals milled, and then immediately dropped that rate down to, just under 10%.
Yeah.
And then that worked great, and then once we went to smart denture, it's
a good combo.
Yeah. It's almost
Who's
nothing.
doing the smart denture conversion? You?
I have a girl that works for me that's pretty much out every day doing it, and then I do overflow. I like to do
it's fun
some a month because it gets you in your clients.
We let him out of his cage.
We let me out of the cage once in a while.
Are you on the bench a lot, Tom?
Not really, no.
No?
I'm treatment planning with doctors. I troubleshoot. I got Jeremy and Angela are managers for the removal department in our laboratories. If it gets past them, it gets to me. I deal with those cases at that time. But a lot of treatment planning
Surgical
stuff.
guides, anything like that? Or
we do some. We have a couple of clients, but we don't do a lot.
Yeah.
No.
Not
we don't
into
really
stackables or anything?
No.
Do you want to get into that realm?
No.
Yeah, okay.
It's funny.
You just answered it.
The Phoenix market, it's funny because there are a lot of early adopters and a lot of our clients, they're so quick and they're good. They do amazing jobs at bone reduction, implant placement, spacing. It would slow them down
to have a guide.
Have a guide.
They're so good at it.
And they do great. We have guys that do transnasals, pterygoids, zygomas. So they're really talented. A lot of them lecture.
That must be fun to do those cases.
It is, because you walk in and it's like shooting fish in a fishbowl. It's so easy, right? The surgeons that are compromised, right, or the GP maybe doesn't do quite as good a job, but we have some GPs that are amazing at it, so it just depends.
Yeah.
But surgery not done well it's not a good thing.
Do you participate in any spears since it's in your backyard, or?
We really don't.
Really interesting.
We've gone to spear meetings for people, and who have we have a doctor that's going to present on a certain case, so they'll want us to be there, but we haven't really. We've wanted to. Just never really.
Do you do any study clubs?
Just always busy.
So study clubs in the sense of we did when I first started, we did, yeah.
Yeah, we did a couple.
But, it's interesting. Again, the Phoenix market is such an interesting market as a whole. You don't see a lot of real tight connections.
Interesting.
Amongst doctors, even in the referral space and specialist space. It's very interesting market. Even getting the same specialty in the same room can be very difficult.
They all hate each other or something? Or,
I don't know. It's just interesting.
It's just all competition?
It's
just only
a different
so much
market.
Bleach shade that can go around, right?
It's just a different market.
Do you do a lot of bleach shade in Phoenix?
We do.
I'm just guessing here.
It's the number 2 retirement county in the country. Florida's number 1, whatever county in Florida. But we have a doctor that every shade's pretty much BL4.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
BL4.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, these clients are 60, 70. They've never had good teeth, and now they want them.
And now they want them.
Okay.
And they're
okay.
okay.
Want them straight across in the incisal. Just
some.
Yeah. And they're okay with their teeth entering before they do. They're okay with that. Yeah. They're like, hey, I want my. I had actually, this is a great story. I had a patient one time, and I'll never forget her. We had to do specialty crowns because of the shading and the bleach shape. And I remember telling her on this hybrid, I said, it's individualized crowns. I said, now you understand that, like, this bleach shade, like, it's not going to look natural at all. And she says, honey, look at me. Is there anything on this body that looks natural? My response was yours.
Okay,
as well.
then.
Yeah.
I was dying laughing.
That's hilarious.
And me and the doctor looked at each other and were like, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
And
that's
the best
what you're
part,
into.
I actually saw her just actually last year, kind of on a follow-up situation, and it was great. She's still loving life, and
Yeah.
nothing looks
Nothing's
natural.
falling apart.
Everything's high and tight.
That is hilarious.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I
Of
love
course.
what you all are doing.
Yeah.
I follow you.
Well,
I see
thank
you on
you.
social media. And
Well, we
everything.
love the show. We have a couple
Yeah.
technicians that are sitting there in the laboratory listening to it every
Yeah.
week. And you got to come listen to Elvis this week.
Yeah.
So great interviews. I love what you
No, I
get out of
appreciate
people,
that,
and,
yeah.
and you have real talent to
Yeah.
a lot of
draw it
fun.
out of them.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
No,
And
thank you.
Enjoy the rest of
Yeah.
Cal Lab.
All right.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah,
you,
thank you
Elvis.
so
All right.
much.
Take care.
Take
Bye.
care.
Super excited here at Cal Lab 2025. I have a pre-dental lab celebrity. I'm sure you get sick of talking about this, but I'm going to make you do it.
No problem.
Matt Cushing.
Cushing.
God, I just tried that. Matt Cushing.
That'd be a great football name, though.
But First Choice Dental Lab, right?
Correct.
Here in the Chicago area.
Chicago area, western suburbs, Downers Grove, as well as we've got a small location
that's
in
right.
the Milwaukee area.
Yeah,
too.
I heard that. Yeah. You liking it?
Yeah, love it. I've been in the lab industry now for, First Choice has been around 17 years.
17 years.
And so I've been in the industry about 19 years.
So-
Hard to believe now.
Let's back up. Let's go through it. You're a big football star. So give me the story.
Sure. I always say this is my second career. My
Yeah.
first career, I spent 6 years playing tight end and fullback for the Pittsburg Steelers.
How'd you get into football? Like college? You played college and they drafted you? Was that the whole thing?
I wasn't drafted. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I played my college ball at the University of Illinois in Champaign and had a good career and wasn't sure if I'd get an opportunity to play in the NFL. I didn't get drafted. I was signed as a free agent after the draft by the Pittsburg Steelers.
Yeah, nice.
And, we can go through the whole journey, but I was invited to training camp. Got cut at the end of training camp, came back home, worked as a substitute teacher.
Oh, really?
And a high school football coach because I wanted to keep pursuing football.
Yeah.
Got re-signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the offseason and allocated to the NFL Europe League, which
really?
is no longer in.
I kind of remember that. Yeah.
They're defunct now, but went and played for the Amsterdam Admirals for a spring. So lived in Amsterdam for about 4 months.
Wow. You
Came
just
back
played
home.
football.
Yeah, we played football. It was a
Not a
professional.
bad life.
Yeah, it wasn't. Not going to complain too much. At that point, wasn't married, although I got married that following summer.
Yeah.
But went back to training camp with the Steelers, got cut again, but got re-signed midway through the year
So what do
after
they,
some
like,
injuries.
excuse my ignorance, but you just go through like a week of them seeing how you do, and then they decide you're not good enough?
It was
or-
longer than that.
Okay.
Yeah, so training camp usually lasts. Camp is usually about 3 weeks, and then you get into preseason games.
Okay.
So you're talking a 6-7 week evaluation.
Oh, so you
sometimes.
actually did preseason games, and then they cut you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that's part of the life of,
Yeah,
of
sure.
the guys living on the fringe.
Sure.
But got re-signed midway through that year and was able to finish out the year. Started some games, played some games.
Nice.
Went back to camp the following year, got cut again at the
What
end of
the
camp.
hell?
Got
That's
re-signed.
brutal.
Yeah, got re-signed mid-season
What
again.
do you do in these in-betweens? Just get odd jobs? Or?
Yeah, I was fortunate at that point. I was coming back to Chicago, and I worked as a substitute teacher and high school football coach
Oh, so
I
that works. Yeah.
had a lot of contacts and started job searching in case I never got another opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then ended up making the team the next training camp, and still there were 3 other times getting cut. So I got cut 7 times in 6 seasons.
Oh, jeez.
So on again, off again, but I got 6 seasons with them.
I'm surprised you kept trying.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's hard to get rid of me, apparently.
Yeah.
But we were a game away from the Super Bowl twice. We lost to Tom
wow.
Brady and the Patriots twice while I was there. So had an incredible time, met some amazing people.
Sure.
The Pittsburgh Steelers organization, high quality from the top down, the Rooney family that owns it. Especially now being out and owning my own business for a while, I certainly can respect it even more how they ran it. But yeah, phenomenal time in my life. And when I finished doing that, I was living in Pittsburgh. My wife and I lived there, and my son was about a year old. And a friend of a friend owned a lab out in Pittsburgh and said, we'd like to put a sales rep in the Chicago area. Would you like to try that? My college degree was urban planning, city planning.
Yeah. Didn't sound like you used that.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. I did an internship in Pittsburgh with an engineering firm. Didn't want to do it. And liked the idea of sales, kind of eat what you kill mentality.
Yeah.
So I did that for a couple of years.
You
really
knew
liked
nothing
it.
about dental, though.
Knew nothing about dental.
So this lab taught you everything?
It taught me products, taught me sales processes. Really enjoyed the small business sale, which I think a lot of, probably most of the industry really enjoys
lab
that.
to dentist,
Yeah, so did that for a few years, and then a couple of people approached me about having the opportunity to start our own lab in the Chicago area, and we did that, and off we went, and first choice is now, like I said, 17 years in.
You're going from sales. Obviously, you're not doing the work.
Correct.
Correct.
We hired a technician. We utilized outsourcing, and we built it from one employee up to we're close to 27, 28 employees at this point.
I've not heard this before, where a salesperson decides to open their own lab.
Because
you have no technical background. That's a lot of trust in your employees.
It is.
Right off the bat.
It is, and it was a learning curve.
Sure.
But I jumped in, and I learned as much as I could. I've always been a hands-on guy. Always loved building stuff. Woodworking's been a hobby of mine for a long time, and so I like building things, and I like building systems, and I think the combination of those two kind of came together for starting the lab.
So you just kept doing sales for your lab?
For our lab, as well as learning the processes and how do we make it, and
what's the first person you hired? A waxer or
all around Crown and Bridge guy?
Really?
Yeah, I was able to do a little bit of everything, and so we were able to launch it that way.
Was this technician already working somewhere else? And you're like, hey, I opened up a brand new lab. You want to give it a shot?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot of faith.
Yeah, he had just left a job at a lab near us,
so
and
he was ready to
kind
go.
of timing was
Nice.
right. Yeah,
nice.
So. Not definitely not the conventional start.
No,
how
so
most people
just
go.
Crown and Bridge to start.
Just Crown and Bridge to start.
Handful of doctors.
How'd
you get them to trust you that first time?
Sales.
Do they know you from your previous sales?
No, some of them did. I mean, some of them had my contacts and reached out, but a lot of knocking on doors, a lot of cold calls. You make enough cold calls. Sales is a numbers game. If you make enough calls and you ask the right questions, you go through the right process, you're gonna find those customers. So we started slow and built it up along the way.
Yeah.
Added some different products, added implants eventually, added removables, and like I said, did a lot of outsourcing to other labs and asking for help that way, but eventually turned it into full-service dental lab at this point.
So this opened when? What year did you open?
2008.
So
really good economic time.
Yeah. But you probably got into digital right away. I mean,
we did. Yeah, we did get into digital right away, and the Cerex system was where we kind of jumped in.
Yeah.
In lab.
A lot of people started with in lab.
Yeah. It was kind of the easiest way to get in.
Very user friendly.
But a lot of stuff to learn because nobody was doing digital.
Yeah.
So you didn't have this type of community to lean on at that point. But yeah, we got into digital right away, and that we at least saw that was going to change what a typical lab looked like. So for a long time, I mean, we didn't cast metal at our place for 14, 15 years.
But then you started casting?
And then we started casting. We eventually did because we did some merger/acquisition stuff where some local labs, we merged them into our operation, and they brought in some of that skill set, PFM accounts.
And God, how painful was that?
All of a sudden we said, why are we doing PFM? But no, there's always there's a call for it. But
wow.
But yeah, we went a good 14 years of never casting in-house, just outsourcing. Argon was a great partner early on.
Yeah.
And,
are you still casting?
We are casting occasionally.
Yeah.
Only occasionally.
You got one guy there that knows how to do it?
Yeah. I got a couple guys. I got some old school technicians.
Do you?
Yeah,
good.
Definitely.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, they're great. The knowledge that they bring and is tremendous, and that's the thing that you got to worry doesn't get lost in our industry.
Sure, absolutely.
That legacy knowledge.
Yeah, so fixed implants and removables.
Mm-hmm.
This whole Cal Lab's all about full arch, it seems like. Are you doing a lot of those?
We're doing full arch. We brought one of the labs that merged into us a couple years ago, brought a decent book of business and skill set there. We were just starting to get into it ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're doing a little bit of it. We anticipate that growing. Obviously, it's growing in the market, but
sure.
We've got a really good team, a small team because we're not doing a ton of it, but I think we've got a great team that's working on those cases right now, and we're looking forward to trying to grow that.
Going out, doing conversions, that kind of thing. Is that big in the Chicago area?
Yeah, conversions are big. Photogrammetry.
Oh, you're into that?
Yeah, we're doing.
Which one did you get?
We went with the Micron mapper.
Okay, I've heard great things about it.
Yeah, we've had great results, and we jumped into it slowly. We went out for training last year and just kind of slowly got into it, and it's been very successful for us. We've had, like I said, some great results. Tough because it's not very scalable.
Meaning what? You got to have multiple of them to do
yeah,
it?
meaning
you only have one.
I can only you can only service one doctor with one camera at one time.
Yeah.
So we're looking at ways that how do we make our All on X offerings a little bit more scalable, and that's something that I think probably everybody is as well. But yeah, that's one of the things that's top on our mind.
But are you offering that same day where they print and delivering, like designing, print, and deliver all in the same day?
We offer it for the surgery. Everything that we've done so far has been next day.
Yeah.
So we've delivered them. Yeah, we've delivered them next day and had zero issues or complications.
That's awesome.
And we just have not taken the leap of putting a printer in the back of the car to
I've heard labs that do that.
chairside.
I just don't know. Maybe it's the way I drive, but I'd be worried about having a printer back there.
Yeah.
And then you have to like level it when you get there.
Well, yeah, I do worry about that. I know that there's a ton of labs that do it, and they say, you calibrate it, you're good to go. But that also extends the time. I don't know that, obviously we've got to respond to our customer needs.
Yeah.
Or our customer desires as well.
Yeah.
And that's,
no
I
one's
think, the
asking.
biggest thing. Right.
Deliver the next day.
We're getting that request, but we're saying what we'll do is we'll print in the lab and deliver it to you, and that just makes too long a day at this point.
It really does make a long day.
So everything we're doing right now pretty much for day of surgery is next day delivery.
Yeah. So you mentioned a few times about acquiring smaller labs. Is that a business model that you're using? I mean, is that obviously working out for you?
We've merged, we've acquired or merged a number of labs in smaller labs. We've done it locally. That's actually how we got our location in Milwaukee as well. So it's been reasonably successful.
Yeah.
Say we definitely have learned along the way
Sure.
what to look for in advance to make sure they're doing, what to make sure they're not doing, and really coming down to making sure the cultures fit.
Because you bring the people in, right?
Correct, yeah.
So you acquire labs that's within a reasonable driving distance.
Correct.
Because Chicago's got a lot of labs. I used to come up here to visit them with Preet, and it was a busy day or two or three because there's so many.
Because you're driving a big radius, right?
Yeah. So you just get kind of like local-ish and just merge them in and give the owners and their employees a new job.
Yeah, that's pretty much
nice.
That's been what's been the most successful. As a business, we don't see a big benefit to having two locations very close to each other and
Sure.
carrying extra overhead, things like that. So where it makes sense is to bring them in, rolling them into our facility, and then being able to put them on our programs and our
and they can still communicate with the accounts that they brought.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Cool. Are you still in the same location?
We are still in the same location.
With above the parking lot?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing where you look up and
yeah, it's like a cantilever over the parking lot, and so you can actually drive under us if you come all the way through.
I'll never forget this because I was working for Preet and I was trying to find your lab, and you don't have like a sign, I don't think.
Nope.
Yeah, so that's a problem for people that are looking for labs.
There is one out front, but not a big one on our
and the
space.
secret is to look in the windows and look for the back of a case pan. And that's what I saw up in the window above the parking lot. And I was like, oh, that's the lab up there.
There you go. See,
that's great.
That's a salesman's tool right there.
Are you still doing sales?
I'm not doing it on a daily basis. As the owner, certainly always doing sales.
Of course.
The customer relationships are some are where I need to spend a lot of time on.
Yeah.
Probably need to spend more time there than I am.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would probably say that, but not on a daily basis.
So what do you mostly do? Just run the lab?
Oversee operations at the lab, oversee the big picture.
You're there every day?
There every day.
Yeah.
In and out of the lab, trying to be, trying to maintain those relationships, making sure I'm seeing our biggest customers, making sure that we're troubleshooting, we're doing the right things, helping support our salespeople, support our production team. Every owner knows it's a never-ending job, and there's a lot of hats. So
all right. So the question is, what's easier, football or a dental lab?
Oh, I was thinking about it as I was walking over here today, and I thought that's the talk that I should give. Is why is a dental lab like playing professional football?
Oh, there you go.
And I started framing some ideas around it. But
do you have aspirations to get on stage?
I love talking.
I think you'd be good.
Yeah, I love public speaking, and I've done it to youth athletic groups. I've done it to coaching groups.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and obviously getting in front of the company and doing those type of things. So, I love
that. Would be a great analogy for just our industry.
Yeah,
having that up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throw up some old pictures of you.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels. I mean, being an athlete and being a business owner, I mean, you've got to have resilience. You've got to have persistence. You've got to have work ethic. You've got to have a plan.
Yeah.
And when you get knocked down, you have to get back up. And
you wake up every morning stiff and it hurts. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. It's a little different now. People ask if I miss it. I said I miss it every day. My body doesn't miss it.
Yeah, I bet.
But the best part of playing football was the time in the locker room. The time with teammates, traveling to games on the planes and stuff like that.
It's got to be a tight-knit friendship, family almost.
Yeah, because you're all going through it, and you're all sacrificing your body for the one goal. So, it was again, great experience, and there's a lot of parallels to what we're doing in the dental lab every day.
Well, I want to see you at Cal Lab in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Maybe even next year.
Yeah, there we go.
I think we should do this. I think it would be great.
Yeah, I need to work on that talk, but I think there would be a lot of valid and a lot of points that people would appreciate and enjoy.
I love the idea. Matt, thank you so much, man.
Awesome, no problem.
Yeah, it's always great seeing you at these meetings.
Yeah.
You're a good dude. You got. I love what you're doing with your lab.
Cool.
So keep doing it.
Thank you, Elvis.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. No problem. Have a great night.
Big thanks to Liam, Tom, and Scott, and Matt for sitting down with Elvis at Cal Lab. I'm super sorry I was unable to be there, but I hope that you will all come back next year and get a chance to say hi to me. I always feel kind of bad when somebody that has to work with Elvis more than I do, but it takes a special someone to have to deal with him daily, and I commend you on your efforts. I have to deal with you almost daily, so I get it.
Almost, but not as much as Liam.
I've known Wiand Dental Lab and Tom for a while, and it was great to finally hear the story and how he has good people like Scott to help that lab succeed. And I agree that Matt definitely has original story we have not heard before, which is always a first on our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So as the chair of the Cal Lab Association, I would love to talk more to Matt, actually, about being a speaker at Cal Lab next year, talking about the similarities between dental labs and football. That sounds extremely interesting.
Wouldn't that be a good one? All right, everybody. That's all we got for you. And of course, we will talk to you next week.
And we hope you had a happy Easter.
Bye.
I'm awake, I am alive, and I am alert.
The views and opinions expressed on the Voices from the Bench podcast are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the host or Voices from the Bench, LLC.